Hi, I'm Holly, founder of What the Stars Say. The mission of What the Stars Say is to explore the cosmic influence in our daily life. And I'm here with you now as we have a full moon in the Aries constellation. And as an Aries astrologer, I'm here to bring that extra energy for the Aries full moon of 2020. Um, I'm peacocking a little extra here, making this seem almost like a Real Housewives reunion vibe, because Aries has that extra energy. And if I could just give you a few examples of the Aries personality, we have Elton John, Aretha Franklin, Diana Ross, Gloria Steinem. We're going to talk tonight about Mariah Carey. It's that Aries energy, and it is a little bit over the top, really. It's a bit flamboyant, a little extra. They really put the extra into it. So I brought my own extra, my own Aries peacocking. We're going to talk a lot about the Aries energy. And I wore some of the red for the Aries Mars, fiery red energy. And I'm really looking forward to sharing what this is about. As usual, I can't help but look at where we've just came out of and the cosmic energies and influences that are still affecting us all. So we're going to go into that, but really we're going to have some Moon Void Tarot, okay? Some Moon news, some Mars news, and some Mariah news. And we're going to combine it all together. So let's get to it, okay? Right now we have the full moon, and it's going into Aries. And the last few days we've had the moon in Pisces. And that's the opposite, really. Pisces is the end of the zodiac. It is a very emotional water sign. It's the deep, it's the subconscious, it's the intuitive. So we've had this going on, and this has been our emotional energy. So we've been really underneath the surface in the deep emotional waters. And as we go into the Aries moon, it's like a wake star, it's like that spring energy, springing forth. And we're going from water to fire. Over these last few days, as we've had this emotional Pisces moon energy, Aries ruler's Mars has been in retrograde in the Aries constellation. So Mars is the ruler of Aries. Mars is at home in Aries. And Mars is really squaring off, battling, confronting Saturn and Capricorn. Saturn is also at home in Capricorn. And this is what I've been talking about with the baby versus the boss, Mars Aries energy being the baby, the Saturn Capricorn energy being the boss, representing authority and leadership and so forth, okay? So, but really Mars and Aries has been squaring off against the whole Capricorn constellation, where you have what I've referred to as the 2020 shit show. I mean, it's the shit show party over in Capricorn with Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto. I will also be bringing Aries bluntness to this talk. I thought, what can I bring? There's so many wonderful astrologers, and I always appreciate when people listen to me specifically, because there is great options out there. So what do I bring that's unique? Well, the bluntness, okay? So let's get blunt about this. We've been in these deep emotional waters inside. The moon is like our inside. And sometimes that's even, the moon is how we're presenting and how we're coming at people that we're interacting with. And we've been going from that to this spring forth fiery, passionate, aggressive energy. And this fiery, passionate, aggressive energy has been going up against broken systems, authority, the boss, the leadership, that Capricorn energy. And what is really happening in the 2020 shit show party thing that's going on in Capricorn now is Jupiter's there expanding all the energy, and Pluto's there destroying and transforming as needed, really. And Capricorn is, the system, the structure, the work and everything, the influence, the reputation, the social status, all the systems that create our civilization. And Saturn is also Lord of Karma and Father of Time. Well, Mars Aries energy doesn't have time to wait on anybody, doesn't want to hear the rules. Even though Aries energy can be this militant file in rank, Aries is also, in Mars itself, is rebellion. It's rebellion, so it can be very anti-authority. So we've been having the baby versus the boss conflict going off, and we've been squaring off against restrictions, and we've been in these deep emotional waters. So what's interesting about that is when I did the moon and the moon void tarot reading for this to see like where are we at this full moon, it's just like, yeah, it's exactly where we're all at. I'll share that with you all in just a moment, but I want to say September 29th and 30th, where we just came from, the energies, this full moon lunar energy, it's been with us for a few days. This is a buildup, nothing in the universe is happening alone out there. So September 29th, we had Mars and Aries at 25 degrees squaring off against Saturn in Capricorn, right? We had Saturn going to stationary and direct. So Mars and Saturn are both at home, as we talked about, but let's also get into a quick reminder here. They're ancient enemies, right? And they're squaring off in this. And this is about, leadership, authority, and everything. And with the Saturn direct, it was literally like we were all crushing into a brick wall. And hello, wasn't that just the debates? I mean, that feeling we had afterwards, just like whoosh, whoosh. I mean, a lot of us have had the wind knocked out of us over the past few days. So when I did, this isn't sponsored or promoted in any way. This is just giving me giving a shout out to a wonderful tarot creator. It is the Moon Void Tarot deck. And so I'm a huge fan of it. I love the colors of it. I'm going to go through it. I wish I could show you every single card in the deck. And it's a new way to also read and interpret. And it's based on the colors and the designs and the shapes and everything. So it's really fun. So what I did was I just created a 5-card reading to say where are we at with this moon and everything. 5 is just this change time, and 5 is the change number and the change year. And that's, really what a full moon's about. It's always about completion. It's always about letting go and the release and, surrendering what no longer serves us or what is toxic and giving that energy to the moon, really. So as we went through this, I'm going to go through this. I'm not going to take so much time, but it's interesting because each card really shows an aspect that's happening at this time. So the first card was the Hierophant in reverse. Okay. So what this really, to me, what this was this is about wanting to break free but feeling restricted. And this is exactly the feeling of the Mars square Saturn aspect that has been going on for a while. It's ending and beginning September. It's as we go, it's almost like a bookend between September and October, and that energy is still with us all right now. Okay, so this is, to me, it's like, what are we going through? We're wanting to break free, but we're restricted. I mean, how clear is that at this specific time? We are collectively restricted. With the Mars square Saturn, I noticed that the UK has their second lockdown, and there's deepening restrictions happening too. There's also more layoffs. I mean, we're feeling that, okay? So the second one is the 6 of Swords reversed. Can you see that? So with the 6 of Swords reversed, this is like things just aren't moving forward and they're not improving, and you feel this like, I'm trying to get things going, but it's not. That's definitely where we're at collectively right now. It's easier than ever to say, yes, this is what's happening collectively. But what I took from that one is it's still that same restriction, but it's also that emotional aspect of the moon, because the moon is always the emotional energy. And it's like we're wanting to move into something new for ourselves, and we're not quite sure how to get there, or it's not moving along as fast as we are, or we're not transforming and changing and having things work for us as quickly as we want. That's that feeling right there. And the third card was the King of Cups. And to me, my interpretation of this was also what I was saying about when Saturn just went stationary direct and those debates happened, all that weird energy. It was like, where's the leadership? Where's the compassion? Where's it at? That's where we're at collectively. You know, it's not just here in the United States. What the stars say, you know, works with clients throughout North America, but you know, across the pond, they're paying attention to this election too. You know, on a global level, we are all in this together, and we realize how globalization has made us dependent, and each of us, you know, on the global scale are checking in a bit more with each other this year, you know. So many of us know what Italy has gone through, or, you know, that we're listening to friends in the UK as they talk about the second lockdown this week, and they're feeling and just trying to keep up their spirits. Where it's there, and in so many places we have this Saturn vibe. What's happening with the 2020 shit show in Capricorn is the Saturn Jupiter vibe really is about us confronting the push for tyranny, the rising of fascism that always happens at this time. It is not, I mean, even though, you know, the world knows about the first presidential debate and how that was just a shit show. I mean, it was so 2020, right? But other countries are dealing with pushes for power and power grabs and everything, and, you know, top-down authority, control issues, dictatorship, fascism. You know, these things are happening, and this is, you know, just shows me where is that leadership, where's the guidance. So the fourth one is what I keep bringing up, and I don't see others bringing up enough, and I'm happy, you know, it came out here because we need to talk about it. We're all going through this. And what this is, you know, the Fifth of Pentacles. And what this is about is, like, globally, we're broke, you know? We're broke. And the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, the major theme, the shit show that is 2020, is asking us to confront the global debt. And it ties into it. The other part, the leadership card just kind of fell on the ground there. That seems fitting. So the last card there too is something else that we're all thinking about. I want to get to, and that is the Three of Cups. And what this is that you know, if we could just go through it. We're broke. The country's broke. What's going on? What happened to our celebrations? What happened to our meanings? You know, our community guiding, our rituals. You know. Something are things to look forward to, right? And many people are wondering, you know, is this canceled? Is that canceled? Is my birthday canceled this year? Is Halloween canceled this year? And we're going to get to that. We're going to get to the cosmic influence coming in right now with this full moon and how it affects these issues, really. And I think it touches on all of them, you know. But what we're all dealing with right now is a collective suffering. But at the same time, each person has their own personal story happening within this. And the final thing I'm going to say about where we're coming from is that there's also, Chiron is representative of the wounded healer, right? And we have Chiron retrograde in Aries, and that's a whole big topic. But how it really affects to some of this is, it's really letting us know that you can be your own best teacher. You can heal your own wounds, you know, and the things that you haven't got to or that you didn't feel brave enough to confront, you can confront them at this time. So as we deal with the parts that are broken, we also have an energy coming in that can help us do that. But it might not be collectively. We might have to figure out how Aries is an individualized energy, you know, so it might be how you can do it yourself. Like, no one's going to save you. You've got to save yourself. That kind of energy. And a lot of us are reaching that peak moment, that realization, really. We're all in this together, but I mean, is anyone going to save us? And that's kind of what that leadership card was about. Where's that? And the Aries energy is the best energy we could really wish for when we have to go it alone. Okay? So to get into this, that's where we're coming from. That was all happening. And then we have the full moon rising right now, the harvest moon. And if you could just close your eyes for a second and think about a harvest moon and that really just that blazing orange like the sun and the red, the fiery red, okay? So in astrology, the Mars Aries color is red, and it's like fire energy, fire energy. And when we have Mars squaring off with Saturn, that means we are in, we're on red alert. We're on red alert, okay? And I'm sorry to say that with this energy we have with Mars retrograding Aries and Mars square Saturn, we have 3 more weeks of social unrest. We have 3 more weeks of wildfire risk, okay? We have 3 more weeks of the baby versus the boss, of wanting to break free but feeling restricted. That struggle, that story above continues, and it's happening here as well too. That battle between those ancient enemies of Mars and Saturn will continue, okay? But at least there's an end date to it, okay? At least there's an end date to it. 3 more weeks. And that's not really surprising when you're looking at this baby versus the boss, and then the youthful rebellion and everything. So as we go into this full moon, we have the sun in Libra, but it's opposite Aries. And in the zodiac, Aries and Libra are opposites already, right? So we have the moon full in Aries. We have Mars at home ruling in Aries. And then we have Chiron in Aries as well. So we have the sun in Libra, okay, but it's opposite of the moon. So what this is it's going to, how this is going to manifest for us, so the energies we could pick up on from this, the influence of this, is this feeling of a lack of emotional balance and having like manipulations backfire. Also, what this is so you have Aries, which is the self and the individual, and Libra, which is more of this balance, energy. This is not the time to make amends in your relationships, is what I'm trying to say. When you have the sun in Libra oppose an Aries moon, it's not the time to make amends. If you try to be shady or act in self-righteous anger, it can backfire on you. And it's very possible you could feel emotionally out of sorts, out of balance. When the sun and the moon are opposite in your natal day, that's a day where you're going to have discordian emotions. It's almost like your head and your heart are matching quite, or your insides and outs. You don't feel as comfortable in your own skin, right? So that's going to be something that we're dealing with at the same time. But we can't say that the sun is the luminary with the most influence, because the full moon is there with Mars, and Chiron and the Aries constellation, exact opposites. So nothing really happens alone. And I'm going to break down about how this full moon isn't happening alone. This energy we have now, it's going to continue over the next few days. October is so action-packed. Please see the weekly forecast. We'll have the 1st through the 7th, the 7th through the 14th, and so on. And it's such a busy month. I just kind of want to go, here's where we're at. Here's what's happening. Here's the story here. But I want to go in this full moon and the aspects that's happening in it, and know that there's so much more. I mean, I really just looked at October 1st and 2nd with these specific transits and aspects that are happening, how everybody's playing off of each other out there, in the stars and with the celestials. But beyond that, really, there's so much more. But the full moon and what's happening at that time, those energies go for the next lunar cycle. So like the next 29 and a half days approximately, these energies carry on, okay? So let's explore the Aries ruling energy and how it's going to affect us over the next cycle. With Aries, we have, just to give you some themes and, some adjectives they like to, throw out for the Aries. Aries is the baby of the zodiac. It's represented by the ram, the ram's horns and everything. They're known for being blunt, curious. Aries is a masculine energy. They have like a militant, kind of structured tendency about them. Depending on the Aries and the other energy and everything, that could be a tendency to see things more as black and white as well, Just like, no, it's like this, like law and order. That kind of feeling comes out there. And Aries is also known for being like the warrior energy, you know, that fiery spark and everything. The Mars really is the rule, and Mars rules like the military, you know, aggression and everything, war, the warrior spirit and everything. But Aries, besides that, Aries can also be brave and pioneering. Aries can be self-reliant, you know, it is about the individual. And as a baby, you have to think about it. What are those baby qualities? There's an innocent, genuine, youthful spirit around the Aries energy as well. So when we talked about the Mars and Aries, one of the things I pointed out is us being very mindful of self-righteous anger versus righteous anger. This is a wonderful time to check yourself and figure out where you're at on the various issues that are troubling you at this time, okay? Because Aries, in the highest expression, is the brave pioneer that will accomplish the impossible, that will charge ahead, that will bravely stand up for people and everything like that. That is that youthful, rebellious spirit and everything, but also the one that can go out and see in the distance, you know, and see a different future. Very future-oriented energy. And all of us are thinking about our future right now, immediate future. So we need that Aries energy. We need that immediacy of it. But what we have to do is we have to see if that energy is going towards things of righteous anger, or if it's just self-righteous judgment, you know, aggressive, rash. Aries can be very egotistical energy, right? The baby is very concerned with themselves. So there's a selfish energy there too. So we have to see how we can take our energy and use any anger, you know, that those feelings, that fiery passion that comes up, and use it for positive manifestation, for transforming our own life rather than, you know, batting each other with the horns and everything like that. We have to see how we can do that. So when we look at this specific full moon and these energies, and to know that we have Mars, you know, action, aggression and everything like that, and then we have in passion and everything, and we have the moon, which is our emotional being, you know, our emotional state, how we're coming at each other really. And then we have Chiron, who's trying to teach us that we can be our own teacher with the Aries in retrograde. Go back. We're finding out that, you know, it's that whole thing like nobody's going to save you but yourself. We're finding out that some of those things we just have to stop waiting for somebody to save us or waiting for our excuses to run out. And we just have to take that personal initiative. And that's the energy there. So now let's get to another Aries sun, okay? Another Aries. And this is Mariah Carey. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to talk about the moon, which we have, Mars, which we have, and now Mariah. So as we have Mars ruling and Chiron, you know, opening up the wound and healing that childlike wound and everything, and then we have this full moon, we have Aries, Mariah Carey, sharing and publishing her autobiography, which is called The Meaning of Mimi. But I think the cover says The Meaning of Mariah. But those that, you know, love her know she's Mimi too. So let's just talk about this. There's so many things in here that translate over. So I'm going to go through this really quickly. And I'm going to use her story, her life story, you know, that she shared with the world at this time as analogies. So we have just left Virgo season. The sun is now in Libra. It's Libra season. This is going to bring up issues of, you know, balance, justice. There'll be a lot more justice issues and everything like that. But the Virgo energy is still with us. And then we have Venus moving into Virgo tomorrow, October 2nd, okay? So with that Virgo energy, and what we really had left over from the previous lunar cycle was Virgo archetypes, really, with Virgo as, you know, the Virgin Maiden, right? And so some of the things that I've been looking into with the Virgo energy, and also what they would call, you know, your like a spiritual initiation of sorts, is looking at this idea of the Cinderella story, you know, the butterfly story really, and the maiden and initiation. So the easiest way I could explain this really is when Cinderella had to do all the cleaning, you know, she was denied her birthright and she had to scrub all the floors and do this and do that and everything like that. That's like initiation. It's as if when people go to study with the monks, they have to, meticulously clean the temple floor. That initiation, okay? And initiation doesn't mean you're in. It means you've begun, okay? So at this time, we still have this energy, and I'm sure some of you are going, oh, that's what's going on in my life. Yes, that is still there. And Mariah is such a great example of that true. First of all, she loves butterflies and that analogy and that metamorphosis. She's a great example of that in her life, because she has risen up and she has transformed herself against, she's had to go within and then rise up against adversity. So Mars going up against Saturn is like also that Aries spirit rising up against adversity. And I think in Mariah Carey's life, the best way to explain Saturn, really, leadership, authority, influencers, that would be her husband, Tommy. She called their house Sing Sing as though it was prison. He controlled her career, her finances. He had to know where she was at all times and so forth. It's also Sony Music Group. I mean, how many lawsuits? There's a new lawsuit against them, but I know George Michael and Michael Jackson have also tried to confront this group and how they feel like prisoners, how they restrict artists, right? Then she also had the fact that she's mixed and she had to deal with racism her whole life, feeling out of the system, feeling like you're not one of the beautiful people, the influencers. That's, Mars versus Saturn, that whole part of it. And then the other thing is with something we have coming up now too, and this is something we're going to feel tomorrow. So we have Venus moving into Virgo tomorrow on October 2nd, and then we have some things going on with Venus, Chiron, and Lilith. And this Aries thing, okay, so this is baby energy, and then we have this wounding energy as well too, right? This is like the childhood wound. This is like the mother. And in Mariah's story, she talks about family betrayal, about how her own sister tried to pimp her out, how her mother encouraged her talent, but then when she started succeeding, she was very jealous and cruel to her about it. It doesn't even count all the people she thought were friends or lovers that went to tabloids and so forth. It's about betrayal. And so many of our wounds and our issues of being wounded go back to that original infant point. And this Aries full moon is saying, I'm done with those childhood wounds. I'm done. I want to be free of that. That initiation is over. I'm done cleaning the floors for you all. And that could be like your family business. That could be a situation and everything. But it's getting to that fact. It's that deepest, early wound. And so she goes into the childhood wound and how, obviously how that shaped her and everything like that. She was fighting out against the restriction. She felt restricted. It was all about they have money, they have power, they have influence, therefore they control her and so forth. Then we have another thing we have in energy at this time we're going into is this a quincunx with Mercury, and Mercury moving into Scorpio, right? So what this is like with Scorpio, that is the detective energy, like I'm not afraid to go the dark side. That's the researcher. So if there's something not sitting right or something you can't figure out, or if society really needs to get into the dark and dirty some more, which apparently we do because that's a 2020 theme right there, this is helping us go in and do those deep dives and everything. But also with that Scorpio energy, it can be, karma is a patient gangster, and so is a Scorpio. They will wait. They will wait for their revenge. Just the right moment and sting, okay? So I want to say that that's something that can happen at this time. And we need to watch it. We need to be really careful where we sting. They have that Ram Aries energy where you want to bat horns and everything. But you want to Mercury is your mind, your communication, your internal process. You can use that energy to go deep, to get to the bottom of it. And Scorpio at its highest is that Phoenix transformational energy, Cinderella, stop, cleaning up after everybody else and having some time, good times and going to the party. the butterfly, coming out of the cocoon and so forth and everything. That's some of these things that we have. And Mariah's story is a wonderful representation of it. With the moon conjuncting Chiron at 8 degrees, I believe this is tomorrow. This is about us turning our weakness into our strengths and healing our wounds. I'm sure Mariah found writing her story out to be a therapeutic process. Sometimes we have to fully address it, bring the wound to light to get it to heal. So with this energy we have, a lot of us leading up to this already know. I mean, the sting was already there. Somebody already rammed horns with us and so forth. And now we have to go and say, how can I take this weakness and turn it into a strength? How can I heal this wound once and for all so it stops being re-triggered? So it stops me from moving forward like I need to, and it helps me feel less stuck and, do the things I can inside myself and in my own world, because I feel so restricted on the outside. So we're going to have Venus out of pocket in throughout this lunar cycle. And this is also so Mariah fiery energy and everything, which is really, you got to love yourself. You've got to love yourself. So with Venus out of pocket, there's our love and our money, our beauty and creativity. Venus will be in Virgo though. So again, that's the initiation. That's the initiation. You have to more go within and do that work. Do that work on loving yourself and everything like that, because it's not going to come from the outside. It's not going to be a great time for all of that. So that whole I'm going to be fabulous anyway, and I'm going to peacock it up and whatever, I'm going to wear my ball gown around the house, whatever. That, that has helped. And also just at the same time and everything like that, when you don't love yourself, just try to love yourself that much more, really. So it's time for us to be a warrior instead of a baby. And that's a very hard lesson. And it's hard at a time where we have so many obstacles against us. But I want to end this on just a very positive note. And that is, if nothing else, Aries, as I mentioned, is very future oriented. So if you're wondering, what's going to happen, Aries has a way of being able to make a hard time look easy. Aries isn't concerned so much about who you were yesterday. It's who you're going to be tomorrow. What adventure awaits us tomorrow? It's that curiosity. It's that spirit, It's the child that falls down, scrapes their knee, cries like it's the biggest thing in the world, but 2 minutes later they're laughing, and giggling and playing. That is the spirit. That's the energy that's available, is just to let go of all the old bullshit, stop crying, get it all out and everything, and then just go run and play. As difficult as that may be at that time. And if you're asking yourself, what is the point of all this? And it feels insurmountable. The good news is that we have Jupiter trining Neptune so much of this month. And this extremely difficult and cosmically energetic, just powerhouse month, we have Jupiter trine Neptune. And if you say, what is the point of it all? Know that these thoughts about spirituality, expansion, creativity, imagination, and newly invented realities will be just dangling around the skies all month. Jupiter's expanding that. It's expanding, our thoughts on spirituality, higher thinking, coming together, you know what I mean? And this is going to be a beautiful energy that really goes and flows throughout the month. And it's coming in right as this full moon's going through and everything. Just over these next few days, it's going to be there, and it's going to stay with us for quite a while. And I really think it is the silver lining of the month of October. So if the outside world, Aries is that individual spirit. If the outside world is difficult and everything like that, know that going within, is much easier at this time. Is much easier at this time, because Aries is about the individual spirit, the sunshine pouring out of the individual and the beginning of it all. So I wish you wonderful completions and wonderful new beginnings during this Aries full moon, and stay tuned for more weekly forecast and more moon stuff because we begin and end this month with a full moon. 2020 is taking October and giving us an October 1st and Halloween full moon. It is so 2020, right? All right, take care. Thank you.